back with another podcast. Here we go again. No sugar, no cream.
Yes.
Live. Not exactly. Here, two
And
separate
we're live on
locations.
Instagram now. Yeehaw.
Excellent. All right. Well, once again, we are at two different locations. Tim is still in Nashville, and I am no longer in Miami. I am on a cruise, bobbing up and down in the ocean. Pretty much. Yep. And who knows where I am? I'm floating, so that's good. I'm floating. I'm in a boat, no holes.
Yeah, it's good that you're not sinking. That's a good thing.
There could be holes. Maybe we're just pumping the water out faster than we're sinking.
Don't have negative thoughts. That's not true. Just think of all the cruises. How many ships does Carnival have?
Shep it.
Daniel would probably know that.
A lot. There's quite a few.
Hundreds?
There's
Probably not 100.
No. 20 some, 30 some maybe.
Yeah, and they go a cruise, multiple cruise every. Sometimes average cruise length is what, 5 days maybe. They don't go any longer than 7.
Yeah,
they go as short
like
as
that.
4, right?
Oh
So
no, they only just did one that was 16 days.
Okay. So let's say average length is 7. So that's 50 cruises a week per
Probably
ship.
5 days.
20 some ships. So that's well over 1,000 cruises a year, and they've been doing this for a long time. And so, not one is they haven't sunk one yet, have they?
Carnival has not that I know of.
Although they did have one that lost power. Was that there did one? Was that Carnival where they lost power and they couldn't get people off of it? I think that was another cruise line.
Costa put it one side, and then it got abandoned by a lot of the workers and the captain. He got thrown in jail for a couple of years,
right?
Or at least a few years.
I remember that. That was in Italy, right? That was in Italy.
Somewhere, but that puppy was on its side. I wasn't on it.
Somewhere. Oh, I want to represent my hometown,
Carpenter, South Dakota.
South Dakota.
We have a decent amount of farmland up there, and we rent it to wonderful farmers. And
what's it say? Established
hometown,
1894. Yeah. So this is the 70th. Let's see.
Tim's birthday. No, Tim is much younger than that. Tim is a bright old 41.
So 106, 130th. So it's the 130th birthday of anniversary of the town this year. So this shirt is kind of commemorating that. So
yes, sir.
1894. Yes, sir. I mean, it's got probably, I would say, there's less than 20 people live in the town, but it has a post office, has a convenience store, has a restaurant, and it has a large fertilizer input plant for farmers that come and go. So there's a lot of trucks coming and going. But
can you really call it a convenience store if you're not located close to anything? How convenient?
Well, it's really a convenience store, because instead of driving
for the people that live there,
half hour or an hour or longer, you can get your stuff close. Whatever the farm, and so. And I remember, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, and a friend of mine was on a board, or they're trying to figure out how they can make the town grow, or what can we do, and what are our advantages, and like, why would we succeed, because we're in the middle of nowhere. And then they said, we realized our advantages were in the middle of nowhere. So people that live in that area, and there's a lot of farm, it's all farmed, and in that area, and farmers, to get to the nearest city that is 10,000 people or more, it's at least a 45-minute drive. And so my hometown, Willow Lake, is probably about a 20-minute drive from Carpenter. And but Willow Lake doesn't have much more than Carpenter. I mean, Willow Lake's a small town as well. I think the population.
Then there's a Watertown that's an hour away. Question.
Well,
do you think
water from Carpenter's probably
got its name because it was the place water?
I don't know. Well, it's on a lake, Lake Compesca, so it might be why it's called Watertown.
Decent amount of water. There you go.
It's a beautiful lake, Lake Compesca. So, and it's on the interstate. And if you look at the interstate, I-29, it's interesting, interstates. Somebody probably paid off some politician because the interstate goes straight north out of Sioux Falls, and then it makes a hard left turn to get to Watertown. So hard left turn, hard right turn. I think
Is
it's a
that
hard
what you
left
did
turn.
with that $10,000?
It probably took more than that. The interstate system many years ago, and so the nearest town, compare and contrast, the nearest town, anyone from South Dakota would know these towns. And Huron is the nearest town to where I grew up, 30 miles from where I grew up, about 37 from Carpenter. And I used to go there all the time. And when I was a kid, they assigned the license plates by the county population of the top 10 population. So one was Minnehaha. So if you saw one license plate, the first digit, you knew they were all from Minnehaha County, which is where Sioux Falls is at. And
Minnehaha, is that something like an Indian name?
Yeah, I'm sure it's Indian name. One, absolutely, I'm sure it is. Yeah, and so, and Minnehaha, not a big haha, a small haha, a small laugh, Minnehaha, not a big haha. Anyhow, and so Huron was number 4, and was the fourth largest town, or the county. The town was represented also town, and that was way back when they assigned those license plates. Number 2, Rapid City, which is on the western side in the Black Hills, where I went to college. Number 3 was Aberdeen, which is in the northern part of the state, and number 4 was Huron. Number 5 was Watertown.
The first thing I do when I go to Huron?
What do you do?
I use the restroom.
Well, I remember a friend of mine who was a sales guy.
It's not urine, it's Huron.
Yeah, like Lake Huron. Lake Huron. Same spelling. There was a tribe of Indians.
Again,
I think,
probably about to say Indian.
Yeah.
Yeah, they run everything.
So, and it was the 4th biggest town. And at one time, it was a big, my buddy Fedge was telling me this. It was the railroads came through there, and it had a very strategic location. Now, this was like maybe 1800s, he said, or 1900. And the Burlington Northern, it was a big deal for Burlington Northern. I guess it was a midpoint or a main stop point that you would have to stop and, put water. There were steam-powered locomotives, and you had to have fuel or water or whatever it was that, you had to have a stop. And Huron was a major stopping point, a major hub, a big deal. And that was because
Fedge didn't fidge.
We'll have to ask him. No, I don't think so. He's a very knowledgeable guy. He's got a lot of facts. I'll ask him if he's watching us. Fedge, did you fidge?
Next time you talk to him, you got to figure out some way to incorporate that. Fedge, are you fidging?
So, and even when I was a kid, Huron was the 4th largest town. Well, now, decades later, Huron has fallen into, a friend of mine put it this way, who sells billboards all across the state. He said, Huron is the armpit of South Dakota, and he used a different body part to describe it, but I think armpit describes the premise of what he was saying. This is a G-rated podcast. I can't hear you.
I'm trying to figure out which body part. I'm just pointing to her.
Yeah, the eye of South Dakota could be the nose of South Dakota. What is similar to an armpit? The ear, behind the knee. And
inner
Huron
ear.
is the inner ear of
probably
South Dakota.
Inner ear. A lot of wax in there.
It's just, it's, I don't even like going there. It's just, there's not much amenities. There's no nice restaurant there. And I don't want to get into a fight from anyone from South Dakota, but
we usually don't say the name of the podcast during the podcast, but podcast name for this podcast could be the
So
inner Huron, the inner ear
what I wanted
of
to
South
get
Dakota.
on was, the interstate did not go through Huron, and it went through Watertown, and now that has radically
Yeah,
changed those towns. Huron is a dying town. I mean, no one could
yeah.
say any otherwise. I mean, nobody wants to go there. There's no major interstate that goes there, and they don't have any real industry. And at the
Well,
time,
is it diluting the population, or is it just kind of
what's happened? A lot of what ethnicity
what is the
is it?
population? What is the
I
population?
think it's about
Give
13,000
idea.
people, which it was when I was a
13?
kid.
Wow.
It was 13,000 people, which it was when I was a kid. Watertown was less than that because Watertown had the 5 rating on the license plate. Watertown is in the 20,000s now. Watertown has overtaken it, and Watertown is thriving, bustling. It's on the interstate. There's a lot going on, and a lot of an Asian group from East Asian group. They're not Hmong, but doggone it, I can't remember the name. And a lot of them have come to Huron, and they've radically changed the complexion of the town. I mean, there's not violence or anything like that, but it's now a place where these. In fact, my church that I grew up in, it was a big building. They built it at the peak. It seats like 450 people, and people drifted away, and it got to the point where there were only 40 people meeting in that. And so they sold that church to this group, and I wish I could remember the name of the ethnicity of this group. And they have a growing church, and they bought it. And Fedge was telling me that there's people there all the time. It's like their community center. They use it. They have church there, but it's a center for them. And now the remnants of the church that built that 450, because it's all of the older people that are still alive, are meeting in a rented spot like a downtown in a super or like a store that is not open on Sunday, and they rent their space and they have their service there on a storefront. And
it's nice that the building's putting good use. If they're taking good care.
And there's a turkey plant there. There's a lot of turkey farmers around there, and a lot of these Asians work in the turkey plant.
Gobble. Shout out to Thanksgiving.
Shout out to Thanksgiving. Every day is Thanksgiving, Anyway, I don't know, get on that subject, and people aren't from South Dakota probably are tuned out already. Sorry about that. But, I mean, things like that.
Something about one of our states. You're welcome.
120 years ago, 130 years ago, well, about when the Carpenter was founded, 1894, Huron was the hot thing because of the transportation hub, because of the rails. And now the rail has gone away, and now Huron is a dying town. It used to be
there's
rivers.
No rail even going through there at all.
There's a rail going through there, but it's not a major hub by any stretch of the imagination.
So it used to be people you could take a train there.
I guess, yeah.
It wasn't just like grain or whatever.
Yeah. People would travel by train. Absolutely, sure. So it was a big deal back then, and now
Question: This is interesting. It wouldn't take much for any of these train companies to just put on one human train car and just rent out. Because what they I think it's for less than $1,000 to transport. Like you could just put on one human car, and wherever these going, you could rent out. You could get a ticket to wherever these trains go. I mean, that's the thing about trains. They don't go as many places as they used to. But anyways, just a little idea that probably wouldn't make any sense. It probably wouldn't work.
I'm fighting the urge.
Oh. You have something to say, sir?
I do have something to say. You started the subject.
Hold on. Go ahead. Let me put my listening cap on. Go ahead, start.
Plug your ears. Yeah, you go ahead, do that. Train travel. I lived in Japan for a year and a half, and I've spent a lot of time in Europe and other countries.
So different,
and train
right?
travel is very important.
Faster?
And it's a great way of getting around. Now, we have a much bigger country than any of those. I mean, our country is bigger than all of Europe, basically, Western Europe anyway. So the distances are problematic. But our train travel is not being used to the extent that that it could and should be. I mean, in Japan, and I think I've said this before, I had a job in Japan. I taught English, conversational English, and I had to commute about 45 minutes to get to my place of work. And one day, something happened, very rarely, and the train was delayed. And I was finally got off in the train station in Himeji, Japan, and I'm running to try to get, because I'm like 5 minutes late by the time I get there. And I walk in the door, and my boss, young Japanese woman, she was so irate. Her face was red, and she said, and so it's so rarely that the trains are late in Japan that they give you a excuse slip. They literally give you an excuse slip, because it never happens, and if you say the train was delayed, they won't believe you because the train is never delayed. And I handed her the slip, and her face got white. I don't know if she'd ever seen one of those, because it happens so rarely. And then she kind of calmed down a little bit and says, get in there, and the students are already waiting for you. So that's, train travel can be absolutely reliable. It's not so much in the U.S. When I lived in New York, and then Giuliani, when he was mayor, he cleaned it up a bit, but still, a subway. You come at subway and you've got a schedule. They have a subway schedule, but they're all so late. Like saying you're trying to catch an 8:07, and a train comes at 8:35, and you're wondering, is this the 8:07 or is this the 8:23? They're both delayed, but you don't even know which one it is because everything's delayed. Nothing ever runs on time. And I mean, I know running a train, there's a lot that goes into it and everything, and a lot of the tracks are dilapidated, and you have to spend a lot of public money to keep that up, and that's a huge expense on the populace. But most other country, of course, again, they're smaller countries geographically, so they don't have to cover as much ground, have much better train systems.
And flying is so advanced now that we got down the price and everything.
Right.
If anything, really, I mean, next thing's got to be flying cars.
Yeah.
And it's going to be all automated, anyways. I mean,
absolutely. Yeah, I've seen some.
There's a lot of
videos of that. They just look like an oversized drone
sedan.
The drone. Drones with cameras you can send. Just looks like an oversized drone with on maybe 4 or 6 propellers. And so that would be a little more fail safe. If one propeller went out, you'd still have, like if you had 6 propellers or 8, if one went out, you'd still, you wouldn't crash. Like a helicopter, you got one prop, and if the engine stops or the chopper stops, you crash. Whereas the design of having multiple blades keeping you in the air, even if you maybe you'd have to drift to the ground, you wouldn't crash to the ground. If you had half capacity of lift, you would slowly go down, not rapidly, like falling like a rock. So yeah, flying cars. I love it. I mean, why not?
Sure. They got a lot of different concepts. Yeah, they got one that looks like more like a plane that you can just take off on the road, and
another thing,
I think it will definitely look like a bit large drone. I think it will go the way of the drone for sure.
And then another thing too, things that have replaced railroad in this country are trucks. I mean, we didn't used to have trucks, and the 18-wheeler revolutions have greatly improved transportation of goods across the country. And now, I mean, they're saying that it won't be, that's a prime candidate for automated driver is a
yeah. Oh, they're kicking me out of here. Okay, sorry.
Where are you?
I was just in the auditorium area.
How dare they? Do they know who you are?
I mean, I wasn't bothering you, buddy.
Yeah. So, let me check the chat here.
It took them 20 minutes to get me out of there. It's really, how much trouble was I causing?
Yeah. So, automated drivers or automated trucks is something that is not far away. Even if you did, I mean, the last mile, like backing it up to the dock and all that could be handled by a human. But if you're taking it 2,000 miles across country, you could have all that automated. You're just basically on an interstate. It's not a lot of, turning, and you're going straight. Now you'd have to have enough fuel. You have to get fuel. But there's a guy in my church who runs, his job is managing a fleet of trucks, and he was telling me that how important it is for the drivers these days. Now, back in the day, drivers, you're only supposed to drive 8 hours. That's the regulations. But drivers used to have double logbooks. They drive 16 hours. So logbook 1 was for the morning shift, and logbook 2 was for the afternoon shift, or what have you, and keep double logbooks. And so you pull out whichever logbook is appropriate, and you show, okay, this is my logbook. But now with GPS, you can't do that. That has gone away, and so it's all regulated and it's all automatic. And he was telling me that all these drivers have ways. I think we talked about this before. I think this is another subject. Have ways of handling their number one need while they're driving. Have a catheter or something, and that's normal.
It's ridiculous.
It is, yeah,
Well, I mean,
because they
Elon
can't
Musk
take
already has
time.
these fully automated. There's and people. They've already pre-bought a lot, and I don't know how much they've already come off the have made it to the companies yet, but
Anyway,
slowly
so
getting there.
I may have. It seems like we might have had this on a previous podcast, but I'm so fascinating to me. I said, "Well, man, it doesn't take that long." And he said, "Well, you're driving a truck. You got to get off to a truck stop. You got to find a parking spot. I mean, it may take 30 minutes off of the trip, and we can't afford that
Yeah,
time break. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, time is money. Time is money. So you
yeah.
get a robot in there, you could drive 24 hours a day as long as you got enough fuel. No pee break needed for a robot. Technology, it's relentless. It's coming.
Technology. Yeah, they've been showing those like robots that are human like for Elon Musk, and yeah, I mean they got a ways to go, but like the movement is insane. It's so human like, it's crazy, and then just how they can pick up stuff. What's up, buddy?
Is that your nephew? My nephew?
One,
Your
one of
brother?
them, one of the guys I met from one of the bars that
Cool. Cool.
I was made friends with. Really nice guy. So, but yeah, a lot of cool work carriers, and we were in the hot tub today and met a lot of cool people. We're having a good time. So, yeah, this is seems to be a little bit more wild than last cruise, but I had a good time then too. I
Mm.
mean,
Mm.
there's never a dull. I mean, a cruise. If you're not having fun on a cruise, you're not trying to have fun. That's what I was gonna say. But yeah.
So
But
you're having
I mean,
fun.
goodness,
I take it you're having fun.
definitely, definitely. You what day are you flying out to go to Cuba?
A week from today, Tuesday.
A week from Tuesday, okay, and then you
Today's
fly.
Tuesday,
So
right?
you'll
A week from
be
today.
okay. So you fly to Miami, and then from Miami you fly same Tuesday, the
The
same
next
day,
day.
right?
Next day. I stay overnight.
Thursday,
Yeah.
Friday in Cuba. You fly
2
back. You
days.
fly
2
Friday,
days and fly back.
Tuesday.
2 days and fly back.
Okay, and then you fly back to Miami and jump on cruise with us
Absolutely. Yes.
for the 8 day cruise. That'd be a blast. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the
So,
Christmas cruise, Christmas time, it'll be a blast. Yeah, but yeah, you'd be the biggest cruise ship you've been on to. This cruise has this. I mean, we're not on that cruise yet, but we've been on that cruise ship before. Has an IMAX theater in it where it plays new movies. There's like a bicycle thing, a bike thing you can ride all the way around, like you just like where you're like high up. It's yeah, it's just, I mean, there's definitely a lot more people. You have probably 1,000 more people than what you're usually used to, at
wow.
least.
Wow. Exciting. Wow. I love that.
Yeah,
So, is it the same? It's the same boat. So, you got three after you're done with Daniel. Then you meet up with your mom and dad, my
yeah.
sister and brother in
We're on
law.
this ship. Yeah, we
And it's
have
that the
one day
same
off, and
ship
then
or
we get on to a different ship.
not the one that we're on for the
Yeah,
Christmas
we
one.
are on the one that we are on the cruise ship that was your first ship. and it changed from Triumph. I'm pretty sure it was Triumph that we went to. We
Yeah,
went a number of years ago. We went on Super Bowl Sunday. We took off,
we did out of
and
New
that was
Orleans,
the
and
game out of
the
New
game was in New
Orleans.
Orleans there.
The game was
So
in
it
New
was it was it
Orleans.
was crazy. I mean,
Yeah,
the
it was
traffic and
insane.
everything. It was crazy. We
Parking.
actually
There was
saw,
no.
we
We
saw the
couldn't buy any
stadium, and
parking.
yeah, we
We
couldn't.
we had to buy parking. Usually, you could buy parking cheaper off from the cruise ship, but everything is sky high, and the only place we could buy parking was there at the port and find a spot as people were leaving, basically. And yeah, and the Super Bowl Sunday was that Sunday, and I mean, I remember watching the game partly in the sports bar and partly in the hot tub. And I remember being in and electricity. That was the game
Yeah,
where the electricity
electricity went out. Yeah, it was out for like
went out
45
and
minutes or
changed
something.
the
Yeah.
game. Yeah, something. Yeah. Can't remember how long it was. It was a while. It was for a while. It was crazy.
Do you remember
But
who was in the Super Bowl that year?
I do
It was
not
like
remember the new.
20
It wasn't.
2013,
I.
2014, 2013. It
I'll have
was
to look it up.
2013. 2013. I want to say
Was it 2013?
2013. I want to
That's
say
crazy, man. That was
11 years ago.
11 years ago. Coming up on 12 years. It will be so next Super Bowl. It will be 12 years ago, and that was your first cruise. We booked that cruise. We booked that cruise for like less than $400.
We did.
I think it was $300 each before taxes, and it was a 7 day cruise. It was crazy cheap. We booked it 10 days before the cruise. We spontaneously went on that cruise. I remember it being 300 before taxes. Crazy cheap.
Yeah, that was the one. I got it. Boy, I had the memory right. So it was the Blackout Bowl. Suspended play
The
for
black
34 minutes, earning the game the added
34.
nickname
You
of the
weren't too
Black.
far away. Felt it was
And
long, but I didn't feel like it was that long. Wow.
and it was the Ravens and the 49ers. Baltimore.
And I think it completely changed the momentum. The team that was losing ended up winning.
The Ravens won.
Yeah. I think it just
So,
completely changed the shift. It shifted after that. It was
oh
crazy.
my gosh, it featured the two brothers, Jim and John Harbaugh, were against each other.
Oh,
Isn't that the guy that radically changed the Chargers? Is it starts with an H? Is it the right guy? Harbaugh? Isn't
yeah.
that Harbaugh? The
Yeah,
guy
that's the
who went
brother
back.
of the one that took the 49ers to. Yeah.
Well, Jim and John. Which one is the one that is doing the Chargers now? Is it Jim or John, or is there another Harbaugh?
No, it'd be John, I think. That would Jim. Yeah. One of them they always say he looks like Chucky. And he's the one that he got
Okay, Jim.
fired.
Jim is the one. Jim is the one that who's got the Chargers.
Oh, it is Jim? Okay. And then so John, yeah, okay. And John was coaching just recently, a few years ago or so, the Las Vegas Raiders, and he got fired
Okay.
because of
Jim.
emails and
So
stuff.
John won that one. John won that. He was with the Ravens and he won. Just for posterity and making sure that we
Oh,
report things
really?
accurately.
So he must have left
According
them and
according
then
to
came back when
Wikipedia.
they moved to Las Vegas. Interesting.
I
Okay.
didn't realize they've been at it that long. I mean, they've been at that level for a long time. And then Jim went down to the college ranks. He's gone back and forth between college and pros, apparently. Between that Super Bowl and where he's at now, he was down in the college ranks coaching as a head coach. So that's interesting. Not many coaches do that in any sport, do they? Go back and forth between. I mean, I know in the NBA,
Not that super commonly. Yeah, they'll usually go up and not
it's
stay. Or
been usually they've had NCAA successful coaches go to the NBA and they've been huge busts. And I
really.
remember, yeah, yeah. So
Hmm. Well,
When this
um, I was gonna say something.
so Brad Stevens came from Butler, small, kind of a midtown, mid NCAA team, not one of the superpowers by any chance, and they made it to two, either consecutively or within about 2 or 3 years. They made it to two NCAA title games, and Brad Stevens was the coach. They lost both of those, but unbelievable. They said they were really punching above their weight, and Brad Stevens came and coached the Celtics. I think at around 2016 it was, and he was coach of the Celtics, and the Celtics just kind of couldn't get above, couldn't get to the finals, got to the conference finals a few times, and finally he said, "That's it. I'm done coaching, and I'm going to become a general manager." And he's better as a general manager than he was as a coach. He's amazing as a general manager. So, but
Wow,
there aren't very many college coaches who've done well in the NBA.
interesting.
There's a bunch of them have busted, have tried to go from
Hey,
in basketball. That is.
by the way, before I forget, so how did Tuesday end up going for the Celtics? How?
We're out. We're out. Remember, I said it was
Yeah,
really low probability.
I think one of them,
So
one of the two things happened though, right?
one of the two things happened, but the other one was the either who the Knicks were playing. Who were they playing? They were playing Orlando. Was it Orlando? And the Orlando had to win, or the Knicks had to win by 37 points. And the Knicks were just cleaning Orlando's clock. And at one point in the third quarter, they were up by 37, more than 37 points. And the announcers are going, saying, "Okay, um, this was the announcers saying." They were not
Mm-hmm.
Celtics announcers. They were saying, "Okay, the Celtics or the Knicks have to know that if they beat them, if they continue to put the pedal to the metal and they beat Orlando by more than 37 points, the Celtics will be in the hunt. And who would you
Yeah.
rather
Do they want to
play?
play the Celtics?
Do they want to play the Celtics or Orlando? Eventually, it wouldn't be a first time around. And they said
I
that
would say
most
they probably want to play the
likely
Orlando.
they want to play Orlando. Is what they now? I'm biased because I think the Celtics are the best team in the league, but the announcers were saying that. So they're saying at some point they're going to have to realize that they need to take their foot off the gas, win the game, but win it by less than 37 points, and that's exactly what they did. They took out their big stars,
Well, I
and
mean, I
they
would say they agree with you that the Celtics are the better team if they let
hey,
off the.
hey, truth is truth, man.
Yeah,
When
they
it's
don't want to play the
true, it's
Celtics
true.
then. I mean,
Uh,
it really is really a small amount of games they play for for that whole
That's the thing
scenario.
about it is
So
it's all win. It's one game. It's one game, win or lose. That's why it's such a unique thing. And Atlanta won the group, and they have they had a break even record, and so nobody's saying that Atlanta is in the competition for winning the championship. Nobody is gonna. They're not gonna beat these other teams in 7 games. Four out of 7 games, but they won the games that they needed to on a one up, winner, one game. So, um, I mean, it's interesting in baseball and hockey and basketball. It's all decided by a series of games, best of 7. But in football, one game decides it, right? When you get to the
okay, and they're
one
all
game.
pros. You can have the crappiest team beat the best team. It is crazy. And my Cowboys didn't do so hot
Yeah, I saw
Monday.
some headline. I was going to ask you about that. I saw a headline that they kind of faltered,
Yeah,
I guess. I
yeah,
don't know
they
what
shot
happened, but
themselves in the
I'm
foot.
sorry.
They aimed very well and just did not miss that foot and shot themselves. It was a it was a punt, and they blocked the punt, and then they tried to catch the very short punch. And they they touched the ball, and so it was a live ball after that when it was coming down, and the Bengals got it, and were able to
Take
make a
advantage of that.
touchdown. made a touchdown and made it go from 20 to 20 to 27 to 20. And they couldn't do anything in a minute. And they had 3 timeouts. So that was kind of a bummer.
Well, that sucks. I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah. But that's what it's been like being a Cowboys fan for the last 30 years.
Hey, so on our cruise, we're going to the ABCs, Aruba, Bonaire, and Caraco. And a guy I've written songs with, or written one song with, a fellow songwriter, Bill O'Hanlon, posted on his Facebook. I knew he had gotten a place and was living somewhere in the Caribbean, but I wasn't sure where. And he posted a photo. This is the view from my writing room, and it's in Bonaire. So I messaged him. I haven't heard back. I said, "Hey, if you're available, let's have
Come
coffee."
pick us
So
up
we'll
and
see.
we're going to hang out at your house and relax. And you're
He has a
cooking
pool.
a
He had a
sludge.
pool right there. I mean, it was a beautiful
Yeah.
home. It looked like, So
Let's invite ourselves over.
maybe I should DM him directly
Yeah, for
rather than
sure.
just make a post. I'll do that. Yeah, let me DM him.
Yeah, DM it. Yeah.
DM him.
Goodness, you wrote a song together. That's pretty cool. That would be cool to go check out. I'm curious how much you bought his house for and how much you buy your house for. Cheaper than the U.S. for sure, probably.
Yeah, I'll
Cool
DM
deal,
him.
man.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Well, anything else going on? What have you been up to lately? You got a song coming out this weekend?
Normally, I have a very clear and prompt answer. This one is not. So, full confession time. So the song is "Old Wish," and I uploaded it a month ago on November 13th, and it was supposed to go live December 13th, which is this Friday. But it wasn't showing up on Spotify, and normally it shows up. It wasn't showing up as upcoming. And I reached out to my distributor and said, "Would you talk to them?" And days went by and I didn't hear anything. And then I was listening to the song over and over. And this is the one where I played all the instruments. And I did some lap steel. And as I listened to it like 20 times, all of a sudden I heard this note that wasn't quite right. And once you hear it, I couldn't unhear it. And it bothered me. And I said, well, maybe it's not that noticeable. But as I listened to it, I said, I will never be able to listen to this song if I release it this way. So I reached out to my engineer and I said, this is, the real truth about songwriting and artistry. And I said, man, at 1 minute, 4 seconds, there's this note that bothers me. And what do you think? Am I overthinking? And he says, yeah, I hear it and I can fix it. So the next day, which was yesterday, he sent me the repaired version and I uploaded it to all the streaming. And they say around Christmas time, you're supposed to do it 3 weeks in advance. Well, Christmas is only 2 weeks away. But sometimes it's the next day. What's that?
Christmas is only 2 weeks away.
So bottom line, I don't know when it's going to go live. I don't know. And if it doesn't go live by, with enough time before Christmas, I'm just going to remove it. You can go onto the site because the original one I said stop the process of making it go live, and you can do that. Or even after it's live, you can take it down. You have that capability. Mm-hmm. Take it down from streaming. And if it doesn't go live in a prompt enough, I'll just release it next year. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a video promoting it, and I'm going to say this is not on streaming because there's another movement. So this is an interesting thing. You know that a lot of artists are complaining that, there's a meme recently that Daniel Ek, the Swedish guy who started Spotify, his net worth is more than any artist or musician, way more than even Taylor Swift, who is the most successful financial artist. And she had a tour that grossed over $1 billion. She's a billionaire just from music.
Yeah, she just wrapped it up.
Just wrapped up the Eras tour. Mm-hmm. Daniel Ek is worth substantially more than her even. And a lot of artists are complaining that Spotify doesn't pay enough. So people are upset with Spotify. They don't pay enough. They don't pay. They pay fractions of a penny. So there are artists who don't have their music on streaming, and so at least for the next 2 weeks, I am going to make a video and I'm going to say, okay, this song "Old Wish" is not out yet, but if you want the MP3, if you want the download, I'll send it to you. Just give me your email and I'll send it to you. And so I'm going to do that for the 2 weeks until Christmas and turning lemons into lemonade. So Old Wish, look for the video within the next 24 hours. It should be live where I'm going to be talking about the song and playing the song and saying, if you want to listen to this, send me, give me your email and I'll send you the download for free. And so turn lemons into lemonade is what I'm planning on doing.
Well, there you go. Well, as we wrap up the podcast here, I'm going to walk you a little walk through, get a little view of everybody of the cruise ship. If you've never been on a cruise, we're big fans of cruising. This is quite the view down here. Get the elevators.
It's so blurry. I can't see anything, man. It's just
blurry. It's blurry?
Yeah, can't see a thing. It's just pixelated and blurry, and it looks like a bunch of different colors. No, it's not coming through.
Okay, maybe I just walk around then. Well, let me see if it clears out if I walk farther. Well, you might have to. Can you hear me okay, though?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. Well, we can do our wrap up then. I don't know anything else to add before we wrap it up.
No, that's all I got for now.
Well, I'm going to drive. It might be loud in here, but I'm going to walk all.
I can see you. Yeah, you can see your face, but you're pixelated pretty heavily.
Oh, really? That's a bummer. All right. Oh, I'm gonna. In fact, it sucks that it's pixelated because Dingle's over here. I could get a little quick view, get him. And
are you in the? It kind of looks like you're in the casino now. Looks like I saw.
Yeah, walking through the casino right now.
Yeah, I can make that out because I know what they look like. It looks like the slot machines are there. Sitting at the bar or sitting at a counter? Sitting at a counter?
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, I'm just going to walk through here and then we'll wrap it up. But we got one more podcast. Oh, goodness. What do we do next week? You're going to be traveling.
We might have to do it when I get back.
Wednesday?
We might have to do it toward the end of the week.
Oh, yeah?
No, like Friday, Saturday. Maybe we'll do it. When do we get on the ship? When do we get on the ship? What day?
Well, the weekend. Next weekend?
We get on the ship.
The next week.
Oh, we get on the ship on the 22nd. Oh, well, we could do it Thursday or Friday. We can do it Thursday or Friday.
Before we. But you're why are you in Miami or
no board? Okay, it says board Carnival. Okay, we board on Saturday according to my calendar. So we board on Saturday, so we could do it Saturday from the ship.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So
do a couple while we're on the ship.
Yeah, we'll do it Saturday, and then Christmas Eve would be that next 24th. Let's do them that close together.
Sounds good. There's always the secret podcast that nobody sees that you could upload.
Yeah,
maybe
that's right.
Maybe upload that
Tuesday.
Yeah, but if you're traveling, you might want to just upload it Monday instead. If you're able to, while you're traveling, whatever you want to do. But guys, thanks for watching the podcast. If you're watching us on, share the podcast, like the podcast. If you're not following our Facebook page, please do that. We're on iTunes. And guys, we thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.
Yes.